Record. And let's get started. Let me just check the chat here. Hello, Mateb. Good afternoon. Yeah, good afternoon. So we've been doing word problems for the last few, I guess last class anyways, and there's two types left. There's age word problems and geometry, and they're all the same. Every word problem is the same. It's just taking the sentence, the English written sentence, picking out the numbers and the parts to calculate or to come up with an equation and then solve that equation. So we've done, general word problems. We've talked about consecutive numbers, and now we'll look at an age problem. I'll go a little quickly through the age problem. This isn't really that important because it's such a specific question. You guys, engineering, med science, business, you're not really going to, this is more of like a fun puzzle than it is a math question. Geometry, though, for my engineers and med science people in the next section is a little more useful. So I'll very quickly cover age. Again, I wouldn't worry too much about age. It's not applicable other than it's kind of like an interesting and fun little puzzle. So let's look at this example. Aisha's mother is 2 years older than twice her age. The sum of their ages is 74. And I want to find both of their ages. So you can kind of see how this is like a little riddle or puzzle that you might see. You see these all the time on like Facebook or something, solve this. Again, not necessarily something that will help you in engineering. So like I said, we'll very quickly cover this. First things first, we have to come up with the unknown variable. So I want one of their ages to be X, and it could be Y or A or B, whatever letter you want. We tend to stick with X. So I'm going to set Aisha's age as X because I know that the mother is 2 years older than twice her age. So X is going to be her age. 2X plus 2 will be the mother's age. Remember, the mother is 2 years older, so 2 plus twice Aisha's age, so 2X plus 2. Now, I also know that it says that the sum of their ages, which means in simple words, if I add together their ages, it will equal 74. And I want to find out how old each person is. So Aisha is X, the mother is 2X plus 2. Add them together, they should be 74, and we solve for X. Now, again, we've been doing solving algebra since early this week or late last week, so I'll let you guys worry about step 3, solve the equation. We've been doing that for days now. The answer ends up being that Aisha is 24. Now, I didn't answer the question, though, not fully anyways, because if she's 24, how old is her mom or her mother? Well, she's 2X plus 2. So 24 plus 2 is 50. And the best part about these questions is I can check this. Is 24 plus 50 74? And it certainly is. So let's look at one. I'll do one, and maybe I'm very quickly going to do age, guys, because again, it's not really something I would focus on. Wink, wink. But I'll do one and then maybe get you guys to do one, and we'll move on to geometry, which is a little bit more challenging, and then we'll get into graphing. So what do I want to do? I'll do B. You guys do A. And no, you know what? I'll do A because I made you guys do a million of these yesterday. So I'll do A, and then I'll ask you guys to try B. So Jane's age is 2 years less than her sister's age. The sum of their ages is 16. Find the age of each person. Well, I'm going to say that the sister is X. Now, some of you might be thinking, why wouldn't I make Jane X? Why is the sister X? Well, I'm given an equation to calculate Jane's age. Jane is 2 years younger or 2 years less than her sister's age. What a confusing way to word that sentence, by the way. Jane's age is 2 years less than her sister's. An easier way to say that, and more logical, would be Jane is 2 years younger than her sister. So the sister will be X and Jane will be X minus 2. And again, I picked the sister to be X because I needed to come up with an equation for Jane. So sister is X, Jane is X minus 2. The sum of their ages is 16. So the sister plus Jane is 16. So X plus X minus 2 is 16. 2X is 16 plus 2. X is 18, 999. Let me fix that. I'm going a little quick because I assume you guys can solve equations, but let's slow it down for the first part here. So the sister plus Jane is 16. I'm going to add the x's together and move the 2 over so it becomes positive. Then I'm going to take that 2 and move it to the other side, and it becomes 18 over 2 is 9. So the sister is 9. Jane is 9 minus 2, or 7. Done. That's it. Sister is 9 years old. Jane is 7 years old. Is that the answer? Well, the sum of their ages is 16. 9 plus 7 is definitely 16. So I know I did this right. That's why I love algebra, because we can always check our answers. All right, guys, I'll give you a minute or two to try B, and then we're going to move on to geometry. All right, now let me check the chat first. Ooh, Hoda, you already have the answer. Now, Hoda, you can try C. I'm not going to put or do the workings for C, but you could try C if you wanted. But if for everybody else, I would love it if you guys tried B. Remember, the answers to these are in your are on your D2L. So if you guys want to check your answers, you can. But I want you guys to try B. And I'll be back in 1 minute. Hoda, you are finished. You can relax or try something else. And I'll give you 1, maybe 2 minutes. Good luck. Okay, guys, take another, I don't know, 30 seconds or so. See if you can get this answer. Just make sure at the end when you get your answer that they add to 50. All right, so 30 more seconds and we'll look at the answer. Okay. So let's get rid of this writing here. So we start with a clean picture. Maria's mother is 2 years older than 3 times Maria's age. Okay, so did we already do one like this? Or no, that was Aisha or Aisha. Okay, sorry, getting deja vu here. First thing you would do is set up who's going to be X and who's going to be, the expression, like who's going to be 3x plus 2 is what it actually ends up being. Maria's mother ends up having a formula that's involved with her age. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that Maria is X and the mom, I say mom, I don't say mother very much. So mother or mom, same thing, is going to be 2 years older than 3 times her age. The sum of their ages is 50. So X plus, so, Maria plus mom will be 50. So X, sorry about that. Okay, sorry about that. Student just emailed me. X plus 3x plus 2 equals 50. Okay, so 4x equals 50 minus 2 now. And again, I'm going a little quick through the algebra here. So X will be 48 over 4. See what that is? That should be 10, 12, I guess. Let's double check. 48 divided by 4. Make sure I'm right. I'm 12 years old. So Maria is 12. Now that doesn't answer the question fully. Maria is 12. How old is the mom? Well, the mom is 3 times her age plus 2. So the mom is going to be 36, 38. So 3 times 12 is 36 plus 2 is 38. And of course, I can check my answer. 12 plus 38, that's 50. Good, perfect, no problems there. Again, guys, between us, this is good practice, but I don't think you're going to see much about ages in the future. Again, it's not really, it's more like a puzzle or a thinking question than something applicable to like an engineer, medical science student. So let's move down. There's a few practice problems you could try there, but let's do something a little bit more important, geometry. Now, engineers certainly would want to know a little bit about geometry. The concept of volume or surface area is something definitely important in engineering. Also medical science. I was just teaching pharmacy math and we talked about surface area of a person. I know that sounds weird, but it's called the BSA, or the body surface area, to calculate how much of a dose a person should receive, how much medicine. So geometry, surface area, volume, these are numbers, these are values that are of importance to some of you in here. We can create a word problem based on geometry, but you guys have to remember a little bit from high school or junior high school. Remember that the area of a rectangle, for example, is length times width. If you need this formula, it will be given. You don't have to remember area is length times width, but there are some formulas that you guys need to just remember for this. Or a formula. We're only going to deal with area in this course. We won't deal with volume. You guys might deal with volumes depending on your next math course. You might look at volume a little bit more. Okay, so let's look at this example, and then I'll get you guys to practice this. All right, example. The length of a rectangle is 1 centimeter less than 3 times the width. Okay, that's interesting. The perimeter, this is another formula. The perimeter is 54 centimeters. What are the dimensions of the rectangle? Now, one important thing here, the perimeter is, so there's two formulas here. These will be given to you. Don't worry. You don't have to memorize this. The perimeter is the sum of all the sides. And you can see this right here. The perimeter would be 2 times the width plus 2 times the length. This is a pretty tricky question. Oops, let me put an L there. So these formulas would be given. You don't have to memorize area and perimeter, but this is a challenge because I need to put all of this together. So maybe I'll do one with you after this one for practice. So the length of a rectangle, 1 centimeter less than 3 times its width. So the first thing I'm going to do is say, well, x is my width, and my length will be 3x minus 1. Okay, that's pretty easy. Now, the perimeter, if you can't remember what perimeter means, it's like the distance around an object. So the perimeter would be all of the sides of a rectangle added together. For a circle, we call it the circumference, which don't worry, we're not getting into. So this formula will be given to you, and I'm going to put x in for my width, and I'm going to put in 3x minus 1 for my length, and then I just solve this equation, and that's it. It probably looks quite complicated, but it's actually not that bad. So let's do this one. Let's do one together. Okay. Let's do A together, and you'll kind of see what I mean by this once I actually practice it. Okay. The length of a rectangle is 1 centimeter more than twice the width. The perimeter of this object is 74 centimeters. Okay. So first, let's set up our variables. The length is giving me a formula. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that the width is x, and my length is 2 times my width plus 1. Okay, cool. The next thing says that the perimeter, which is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width, is 74. So I can use all of this now to solve this equation. All right, so 74 is my perimeter. 2 times the length plus 2 times my width. And that's it. I'm done. I just need to solve this using my skills that we learned the other day. So I'm going to, let's pick a different color here. I'm going to distribute this out. So 74 equals 4x plus 2 plus 2x. This is looking pretty easy. So 74 minus 2 is equal to 6x. Now I'm going to just do a little flip here just to make my life easier. So 6x is 72. That means x will be 70. Actually, I guess I could scroll down, couldn't I? Yeah. That means x will be 72 over 6. Oop, there's a phone ringing here. I'll get my phone in 1 second. Okay, so 72 divided by 6 equals 12. Now, the units here are centimeters. There's a couple messages in the chat. I'll get to that in a minute. Okay, I'm almost done. Let me just erase this line here. Okay, now, what's the answer to the question? Well, I know that my width is 12 centimeters. My length is going to be 2 times 12 plus 1, so 25 centimeters. You can check your answer if you want, but I'm going to leave it like that. I assume that that's right. Let me just quickly check on my calculator. Yep, perfect. Okay, cool. So that's it. The width is 12, the length is 25. Let me check the chat here. Samira, Bilal, excellent. You guys got the answers before I did. The perimeter, 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 perimeter. Oh, they're all about perimeter. We don't even need to worry about area. Okay, why don't you guys quickly try one, and then we're going to move into topic 8, graphing. We should have started topic 8 yesterday, but that's fine. So why don't you guys try this guy? And then we're going to move into topic 8. So I'll be back I'll give you 3 minutes to try this one, and we'll move on. All right, so good luck. Let me know in the chat if you have any questions. Just remember, one thing I'll mention is the perimeter is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Okay? You don't need the formula for area. We only need this. All right, I'll be back in a couple minutes. Good luck. Okay, let's check out your answers. I'm getting, I don't know the answers. I don't even have the answer key open. But I'm getting some good answers in the chat here. Samira, oh no, that's from the last question. Hoda, Isra are telling me that we have a 40 and a 75. So let's check it out. The length of a rectangular playing field is 5 meters less than twice the width. Okay. So width, that's a weird word to say, is going to be x. The length is going to be 2x minus 5. And of course, my perimeter is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Okay, so I put all of this together, 230. That's my perimeter. Will be 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Let me check the chat. Okay, cool. More answers. Excellent. All right, so 230 would be 4x minus 10 plus 2x. 230 plus 10 is equal to 6x. Now I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm just going to reverse this. So I have the 6x on the left and 240 on the right. You don't need to do that. It's just how I prefer to answer these questions. So x, which is my width, is 240 over 6, which is 40. This is meters. So that's my width. Sorry, and my length is going to be 2 times 40 minus 5, 75 meters. Done. Easy. That's a weird looking happy face, but there we go. Cool.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it was just 1 second. And yeah, Samira, that's fine. You said centimeters, meters is what it is, but that's fine. Yes, there's a question.
We have to write the unit. Is it
Yes.
necessary?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mentioned this the other day. You have to include a unit because 40 means nothing. It could be 40 grams, 40 liters, 40 meters, 40 kilometers. I need the unit, and the unit will always be in the question. Now, one thing, guys, if you didn't know or you couldn't remember that meters was M, you don't have to say 40 M. You could say 40 meters. You don't have to write the unit, but you need to tell me what it is. All right, cool. So you guys can practice that. That's a good question to practice, wink, wink. But really what I want to do today is take the rest of this class and I really want to talk about graphing. Now, guys, graphing, a couple things I want to mention about graphing. One, there's three things. First thing, it's my favorite thing in the world. I love graphing. I love graphs. I love charts. I love anything visual in mathematics. That means nothing to you. I just want you guys to know that personally, I am a huge fan of graphs, charts, and tables. Anything visual, I love. What's important for you is two things. One, on your next assignment, this is not on your first assignment, but on your next assignment, you guys won't be able to draw graphs because it's going to be done online. And the software that we use is limited to multiple choice type questions. So on an assignment, you don't have to draw a graph, but on a test, you will have to draw a graph. Okay, so we're going to start today by how to draw a graph. And this is so important. Like business students, you're going to be graphing revenue versus, what is it? Profit. Interest. So you'll be graphing revenue and interest and looking at profit. You'll be like graphing all the time in business to look at things like, money or revenue. Medical science, you use graphs all the time or charts all the time when you're dealing with like, patients, their medicines, their blood levels, things like that. Engineers, graphing all the time. You could be graphing things like the concentration or pH of an acid over time. I mean, there's so much graphing in this college. You could be business, engineering, med science, you're going to be graphing. If any of you guys are IT students, I don't know. I've never taught an IT student. I've taught hundreds of times business, engineering, and med science. So graphing is so important. Graphing a line is easily determined by or done by finding 2 points on that graph and connecting them with a ruler. A line is determined by 2 points and they are connected, and you usually use a ruler. Now, I'm not saying you need to go out and buy a ruler. You could use, another piece of paper folded up. You could use, I know a lot of people use the side of their calculator. I have about 15, maybe 20 rulers in my office. So if you guys ever need a ruler, I can lend you one. But you don't have to go out and buy a ruler. But it's not a bad investment, but again, you could use the side of a piece of paper, your calculator, your cell phone, whatever. Now, if you know 2 points on a graph, you can draw a line by connecting them. Just look at this right here. I love using a computer. If I have these 2 dots, okay, and I'm up here. Okay, if I have 2 dots and I want to connect them, well, it's quite easy. I can just use a ruler and a pencil or a pen. I highly recommend using a pen or a pencil, and I can connect them. That's a line. 2 dots connected by something is a line. Okay, easy. Oh, I don't know why they won't go away. Anyways, no big deal. Okay. Oh, there we go. So here's an example. Now there's a little bit of information I need to give you before we can do this. I'm assuming you guys remember from school, and I'm making a big assumption here, Cartesian coordinates. And some of you guys might forget how this works. This, like what I mean is ignore the red line for a second. This information here, this cross, you could call it, or like a plus symbol, this is a Cartesian plane is what it's called. This is kind of like the basis of a graph. We have the x-axis and we have the y-axis. The x-axis is horizontal and the y is vertical. So for anybody in the future doing like physics or chemistry, the x is typically your independent value. Well, that's something you can worry about in science. You don't need to worry about it here. Your independent variable. Okay. So now, first of all, guys, this will be given to you. What I mean is if and when you have to draw a graph, this shape, actually this whole square, will be given. And you guys need to actually draw the line. So you don't have to worry about drawing this shape. You need to worry about drawing the line. So how do we do it? How do we graph a line through these points? Well, the only thing you really need to know is that Cartesian coordinates, which I'm just going to call coordinates, are always x value, y value, always. Now, how can you remember that? The easiest way to remember that is to think of the English alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? So when you get to the end of the alphabet, think of the very end, A, B, C, D. I can't do it without counting down. Q, R, S, oh, sorry, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. X in the alphabet comes first. So the coordinates are written as the X value, then the Y. Always, no exception. And if you can't remember which comes first, it's in the the English alphabet. W, X, Y, Z. X is first, Y is second. X, Y. Okay, so I want to graph these points 4 and 3. Well, what I do is to graph this point, I go to the 4th point on this graph. So on the X. So I'm here, guys. 2, 3, 4. And then I go to the -3 on the Y. So I'm going to 1, 2, 3. And the point is where those guys intersect. So again, let me just show you again one more time, because if you can't do this, there's a big problem. X, Y. So I'm going to go over to the 4th Y. I'm going to go down to -3, and there's my point. So I go to the 4th on the X, to the -3 on the Y, and I put my point. Okay, let's look at -2 and 6. Again, X, Y. So here I'm going to go, and I'm here, guys, on this side. I'm going to go to -2 and then count up to +6. And there we go. There's my point. To draw the line, I connect these 2 points using a ruler or, whatever you guys have around you. If you don't have a ruler, it doesn't need to be perfect. It should be nice and straight, but use whatever you can. All right. So why don't you guys practice? Now, I don't know how you're going to practice this if you can't draw on your screen. And sorry, this looks a little messy here. What this is saying is it's saying graph the line through the points 4 and 2 and 3 and 5. Now, I know if you don't have your notes printed, you're not going to be able to practice this, but maybe on your screen, if you're following along, you can try to visualize it. What I mean is the line going to look like this? Is it going to look like this or this or this or this? You get the idea. I'll just give you a minute. And again, I know if you don't have your notes printed, there's not much you can do, but I'll give you a minute to kind of see if you can imagine where the dots are. And then we'll look at the answer. So just take 1 minute. I'll see what you guys can do with this. It's very tough if you don't have your notes printed. So I'll be back in 1 minute. I'm sorry. No, Bilal, I thought that was funny. I thought you were drawing your line like this, like using the forward slash to draw your line. And I thought that honestly made me laugh out loud because I thought that was really funny. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I'm in the chat. I thought that was so funny. Anyway, sorry. Keep going. I'll give you another minute to finish that. The line from right to left. Okay. I know this is hard to do via distance. It's easy for me to show you, but it's hard for you guys to show me. So luckily for you, we're only going to spend about a class or two on graphing. So we'll be back to normal math probably tomorrow. But yeah, anyways, in 1 minute, I'll show you the answer. Okay, I know this is a bit weird to do via distance, but anyways, 1 minute. All right, sorry. Ooh, Isra. Oh, sorry. I think your name came up on my screen like you were drawing. Some of you guys can actually, you could write on my screen if you wanted, but let's put that away for now. Let's look at the answer here. Now, one thing I'll mention is this is called a table, by the way, of values. Oops. Sorry, table of values. And this represents 1 point, 4 and 2, and this represents another point on the bottom, 3 and 5. That's where my points come from. So let's plot my first point. Now remember, guys, it's x then y, x then y. So I'm going to go to the -4 and up 2 on the y. So this point here is -4 and 2. And the second point is going to be 3 on the x. So 1, 2, 3. So here. And then up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now what I do is I connect those with a line. Let's see if I can do it. Right, so there we go. There's my line. Oops, done. Halas, finished. So the line is going up. We would call this in physics a positive slope. It's going up from left to right. It's going up. You don't need to know that, but that's it. That's my line. Pretty easy. If anybody here is wondering why, or like, what, what's the point of drawing lines? I cannot express enough how important this is for any of your programs, medical science, engineering, whatever you're in, business. It's so important. Okay, sorry about that. There's another way to look at the lines, and this, I'll read the above in a second, but this method is going to give us some information we need for the next topic. So this is called the slope and y-intercept method. Now, this sounds really fancy, but you guys should have done this at some point in your school. I think you should have. I don't know what schools you went to, but let me explain what the slope and the y-intercept are. This is very important. We might not get to it today. We might get to it tomorrow, but very important. The slope and y-intercept. The y-intercept of a line is the point where it intersects or crosses the y-axis. So in simple words, this is where the line crosses the y-axis. To graph a line, we always must start at a point, right? Like whenever you're graphing a line, you must have a point to start with. You have to. If you don't have 2 points, you can start with the y-intercept. And once you have 1 point plotted, you can use the slope. Now, the slope is important here. We're for physics, any student here, med science, business doing physics, the slope is really important. Same as business as well. Like you guys are going to talk about this a lot more in your future courses. The slope is how steep the graph is. Now, what do I mean by steep? The graph could look like this. It could look like this, right? It's in simple words, the rise over the run. So slope, we use the letter M in math. Don't ask me why, but we use the letter M. This is very important as well. M equals slope. We'll talk a little bit more about that today. The slope is how steep the graph is. It's how much the graph goes up versus how much the graph goes to the left or right. It's called rise over run. You're going to see this in this example. Okay, so it says graph the line with a slope of 2/3. Okay, so the slope is rise over run. What this means is the graph is going to go up 2 and 3 to the right. They're both positive numbers, so it will go up 2 to the right 3. And again, step 1 says, the question says, graph the line with the slope 2/3 and the y-intercept of 0 and 2. So the first thing I'm going to do is plot my y-axes, x and y. This point means I'm 0 on the x and I'm going to go to the 2 on the y. Now that I know my y-intercept, I'm going to count my rise over run. I go up 2/3. And don't worry, guys, I'm going to show you an example of this in a second. So if I can, let me zoom in here. So I go rise equals 2, run equals 3. So up 2/3. There's my point, and I draw my line. All right, let me show you one. During, this might be a good idea, like during Eid or something, if you guys can get to a printer and print your notes, this could be a good time to practice this if you can get to a printer. You don't have to get to a printer, but I mean, some of you guys probably have iPads or, tablets or even your phones. You can use your finger to draw on that, but not the best example. So this says graph the line with the slope negative. Now I'm going to show you how this one works. Negative 4/3. That negative is really important. And the y-intercept of 0 and -3. Ooh. Okay. So first things first. M, which is my slope, is -4/3. Now you'll know, no, I guess that's fine. So what this means is your rise over your run, you're going to go -4 and 3. Now, notice that the negative is written here. Only one of these numbers is negative. So I'm going to go down 4 and right 3. That's what that negative means. I kept the negative with the 4. There's only one negative there. So I kept the negative with the 4. I'm going to go down 4 because it's negative and to the right 3. Let me check my chat. All right, cool. So next step, I need to start somewhere. I know that my graph is going to go down 4, right 3. But I need to start somewhere, and I'm going to start here. 0 and -3, so 1, 2, 3. Let's pick another color, by the way. Let's go to red here. So 1, 2, 3. This right here, 0 and -3, is my starting point. I guess I probably should put it on this side. Oops, not happy with that. There we go. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, because my slope is down 4, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to go to the right 3. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to put a dot here. All right, and that's it. Now I draw a line to connect those dots. So there we go. There's my line. That's it. Finished. Easy. Done. All right, let me check the chat before I move on. Yeah. Okay. So, guys, I have a private message, which is a really good message. Listen to my words carefully. Is it the same if I did 4 up and 3 left? It is. Okay, so let me explain that before I move on. So the slope is -4/3. You could also write this as 4 over -3. As long as one and only one of those numbers is negative. So what this would mean is I would go up 4 and left 3. Now let's do this from this point. Okay, guys, let's do this from this point. Let's go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and let's go left 3, 1, 2, 3. It's there. I didn't draw my line perfectly, but there you go. That's perfect. To the student who said that, that's excellent. Cool. So there you go.
Sir, that means rise is up and down, and the run right to the left. Right?
Yep, exactly. Perfect. Yeah. So let me clear my drawing here so I can just the line. I'm using like 2 programs for this. Yeah. So the rise is up or down, and the run is left or right. Now, up is positive, down is negative, left is negative, right is positive. Now, some of you guys might not be able to remember that, right? Like, how do I know up is positive and down is negative? How do I know the left is negative and right is positive? It's written here on this graph. Let me find you another graph to show you. Sorry, I'm just going to look at this one for 1 second. Up is positive, right is positive. Down is negative, left is negative. So up and right are your positive numbers. Down and left are your negative. Up and down is your rise. Right and left is your run. It's easier than it sounds. Sorry, once you guys practice this, it's actually pretty straightforward. All right. So what was the other question? It seems like we're doing the same thing. Oh, slope and any point. This is very quick. You know, maybe you're doing a question and somebody doesn't give you the y-intercept. They just give you the slope of the graph and any point. Well, that's easy. So this says graph the line with the slope -4/3 again, and through the point 2 and 5. So I have a starting point and I'm going to do my slope. It could be 4 down and 3 to the right, which is kind of how I do my slope, and you connect the line. Let me show you one. I didn't mean to go quick through that. It's just I find it easier if I show you these questions. So let me just clear my writing here. Let's look at this one together. Guys, don't worry. We'll be back to like normal numbers and calculations after this. This is a bit hard to do in distance because I don't know if you have your notes printed. I'm going to show you a website in a second that you guys can use to help you, but let me do this practice example. Okay, so the slope is 5/6. The point is 3 and 0. All right, let's think about my slope. So m is my slope. It's 5/6. That's my rise over my run. Okay, so that means for this graph, I'm going to go up 5, right 6. Okay, I start here, 3 and 0. So remember, guys, this is x, then y. So my starting point will be here. Okay, let me do that again. So 1, 2, 3. This is my starting point. Okay, sorry. And then my rise is going to be up 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And my run is going to be 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I ran out of room there, but it would be right here. I could also, you know, guys, since I ran out of room there, I could also do, well, I guess that's it, really. You could go down 5 and left 6, but no, I'm going to leave it like that. I don't want to confuse you with, you know, too much information. So now I just connect these points. So draw line, connect the points. Guys, you'll notice I draw the line longer than it needs to be. If you ever have to do this, make the line, oops. Make the line as long as you can. Okay. The point is later in this course, we might need to use another point on that line. All right, let's take a moment to take a minute here. Let's pause. Let me check the chat. I have a private message. If there is a negative in the fraction, I put the negative for the rise. Am I right or not? Okay, let me explain. This student in the chat is asking if there's a negative in the fraction, where do you put the negative? You can put it wherever you want. You can put it in the rise or the run, whatever you want to do. Just make sure you only put it in one place. I personally stick it with the rise. So, for example, if I told you that the slope was negative, let's say if I gave you that the slope was -3/4, I would say that the rise is -3 and the run is 4. That's how I do it. I personally put the negative with the top number. You guys can put it wherever you want, but just personally, I put the negative with the rise. Okay, that's a good question. Now, before I move on, let me just see something. Okay, before I move on, does anybody have any questions before we do a practice? Or I'm going to ask you guys to do a practice. Everybody okay? Or well, does anybody have any questions, sorry, before I ask you to do a practice question? If you can ask questions whenever you want, but if there are no questions, and I know this is going to be very difficult because some of you don't have anything printed, but I would like for you guys to try this. Actually, hold on. Let me just see something. No, 1 is pretty easy. Let's not do 1 and 2. I want you guys, so ignore that. Don't do that one. This is the harder one. Try this one. Okay, I'll be back in a minute. Again, I don't know how you're going to draw this if you don't have your notes printed, but maybe you can take a piece of scrap paper and try your best. If you don't have any of this paper or anything, just maybe try to like put your fingers on the screen or something. Like try your best to kind of visualize where these lines are, and I'll go through the answer in, let's say, 2 minutes. Let me check the chat. Fatima is done. That's excellent. This is, if you know what you're doing, this is pretty easy, but I guess you could say that about everything in math. But I'll give you 2 minutes to, a minute for each line, and then I'll put the answers up. Okay, so good luck. Any questions, let me know. Okay, so let's do the answers to this. And I have a question or a private message in the chat here. So you guys can't see this, but it says next assignment, there'll be no graph. So because that's the question, will there be a graph on the next assignment? Yes, you will look at graphs, but because the assignments are on D2L, you won't be asked to draw the graph, but you might be asked to interpret the graph. And what I mean by interpret, we're going to look at maybe today or tomorrow, after this or tomorrow. I might ask you to tell me the slope or tell me the y-intercept. We haven't really done that yet. So to answer this private message, there are graphs, but you won't be asked to draw them. We don't have the technology yet in D2L for you guys to be drawing graphs and submitting them, not on a quiz. and we're not going to get into Dropbox. It's too late for that. So let's look at the answers to this. I had a few students tell me that they were finished, so let's look. Graph the line with the slope -2, 5, and the intercept 0 and 3. So let's start with the intercept. And guys, I'll make line A red and I'll make line B blue. So I'm going to start at 0 and 3. So there's my first point. And this says go with the slope -2 over 5. So, okay. My slope is -2 over 5. That's going to be my rise and my run. So I'm going to go down to right 5. So down to the right 5. There's my second point, and I'm going to draw a line here in red. All right, now I want to make sure this lines up. How am I going to do this? Sorry, 1 second. I can just notice I was really close to the mic too. So down to 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I want to draw the line as big or as long as possible. So there's my line. Okay. This is a lot easier, by the way, with a ruler and not a computer. Okay, so let's do B. I'm going to switch to blue for B. Okay, so my intercept here is down at -4. And my slope for B is 3 over 2, which is my rise over my run. So I'm going to go up 3, right 2. 1, 2, 3 over 2. There's my point there. And now I'll connect these points with a blue line. Now, how do I make this blue? Okay. All right. So just give me 1 second. 1, 2, 3, okay. And there's this line. Now, one thing I want to mention before I move on, and I hope first of all, if you have any questions with this, let me know. But one thing I want to mention, let me pick a different color here. Let's go with real bright pink. This point here, this is called the intersection. This is like, think about an intersection in math, or not in math, in Qatar. You know, they used to be roundabouts, but now instead of sports roundabout, we have an intersection, a place where 2 roads or 3 or 4 roads cross. This is the intersection. That point becomes very, very, very important in business math for sure. Engineering, this point means something where they cross. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the future. Okay, we're almost done. We'll be done before 2 o'clock, don't worry. Again, the classes are meant to be 2 hours, but because of Ramadan, we can only go an hour and a half. So if you're thinking that this is long, just remember they're actually meant to be 2 hours. But anyways, I do want to do at least one more thing with you. But how are you guys with this? How does this feel? Does anybody have any questions?
Nope.
All right, cool.
No questions.
No questions. I mean, graphing, I don't see, the problem is like when I was in Canada, I used to teach high school. So I know exactly what my students do in high school. Here, I don't really know. So hopefully this, for some of you, this is review. You've done this before. Okay. So guys, just one thing I'll mention is this is where I want to end today. Finding the equation of a line. very important. Finding the equation of the line is something that you're going to need to do in basically every course, every course ever. This method, this is a third method yet again, where you guys can actually graph the line, but this is the third method. Well, I don't know why I'm writing in hot pink, by the way. This is the third method. It's up to, this is not my favorite method. I'm going to stick with the first two, using 2 points or using the slope with a point. This is not my favorite point. So you guys can kind of, if you want to learn about the 2-intercept method, you can have a little look at it and ask me if you have any questions. But I prefer this method here. This is a lot easier, a lot more useful for later, because of course this concept of slope is going to be very, very important. So let's go down to page 89, and this will be the end of today, finding the equation. So this is a good question for assignment 2. Wink, wink. Obviously, don't worry about assignment 2 yet. You have assignment 1 still due this weekend, so you don't have to worry about this yet. But this is a good question. Wink, wink, wink for assignment number 2. What if I give you a graph, or I give you some information, and I want you to write the formula for that line? And I'm going to show you something really cool in a minute. After I kind of explain this, a really cool website. I think it's a cool website that will help explain or let you guys practice some of this. Before I can explain this, and this is the finale of today, so this is the last topic we'll do, the formula for a line, and you guys, I hope, remember this from school, is generally y equals mx plus b. Okay, so what does this mean? Well, m, I've already talked about this a few minutes ago. M is the slope. B is the y-intercept. We've already done this. That's why I showed you a few minutes ago that method of using slope and y-intercept. We already know these points. So where does the y and the x come in? Well, these are your variables. These are your points on the line. So y, well, let me say x first. X and y are points on the line. Now, if any of you are confused, don't worry. We're going to look at this together. I'm going to show you how this works. We're going to start off easy. Find the equation of a line with the slope 2 and intercept 3. So m is 2, b is 3. This is a little, maybe a little too easy for, you know, a test or something like that, but, or an assignment. But here's my formula. For m, I'm going to put in 2. For b, I'm going to put in 3. So there's my formula. Now, I want to show you something cool. I know you guys are probably tired. It's Ramadan. It's almost 2 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon. So let me show you something very cool. That's the equation of my line. But what if I want to look at what that looks like? Like, I want to see what this line actually looks like. Oh, hold on. Let me see something here. Sorry, I'm just, okay, perfect. Okay, so let me share my screen and show you something. New share. You guys should see my Chrome browser, and I'm going to go to a site called Desmos. Write this down, save it on your phone. I think it's an app you could probably download too, maybe not, maybe not. But this is such a cool website, desmos.com. It has a graphing calculator, a scientific calculator. So desmos.com, very cool website. So I'm going to go to the graphing calculator. this is where I can graph anything. It's amazing. This is such a cool thing. And I encourage you guys, maybe after your assignment to kind of mess around with some of these graphs. You can look at all sorts of graphs here. Okay. I don't know how to get rid of this screen now. There we go. So let me show you my notes again. I want to see, what does y equals 2x plus 3 look like? So I want to see, what does this look like? Y equals 2x plus 3. So I'll go to Desmos and I'm going to enter y equals 2x plus 3. There it is. What if I want to do another one? Let's go y equals negative 2 over 3x plus 5. No, let's go minus 4. Right? I mean, isn't that so cool? You can graph these things instantly. I can see where the graphs intersect. Okay, so you can see that right there. Oh, sorry. Sometimes my pen jumps around. I can see the y-intercepts. I mean, you can calculate the slope. It's such a cool website. So make sure, bookmark it or write the word down, Desmos. I don't know what it means, but Desmos, if you Google that, you can be brought to this site. I love this site. All right, so let's go back to your notes. And keep going with that. I'll just give me 5 or 10, well, let's say 10 more minutes and you guys will be out of here. So this says find the equation of a line. Slope is 5. I don't know why this is giving you so much space. Y-intercept is 2. My equation would be 5x plus 2. Okay, pretty straightforward. Now, this is much better. This is a good practice problem. I'll put a star by this. Find the equation. This would be a good multiple choice type question. Find the equation of a line with slope 2 and passes through the point with the coordinates 3 and 4. Okay, this is a good question. Remember, your equation is y equals mx plus b. Now, I'm telling you the m, and I'm also telling you the x and y. And in order to solve this equation, I need to find b. And it says it right here, and we're going to do some practice with this in a minute. In order to find the equation, we need to find b. To do that, I use this equation and I solve for b, which you can see right here. So my answer is written here. Let's practice this. Let me show you how this works. Oh, there's only one practice. That's no fun. This will be the last thing we do today. Okay, so we're almost done. Practice. Find the equation of a line with slope 1 over 2 and passing through the points negative 6 and 5. Okay, so my slope m is 1 over 2. My y-intercept, I do not know. This is my b. I do not know the b, but I know the equation is going to be y equals mx plus b, right? That's my equation. I also know that I have a point x and y. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug all of this, like when I say plug, I mean enter all of this information into this formula over here. So 5 equals 1/2 x, which is negative 6 plus b. 5 equals negative 3 plus b. So that means b is going to be, well, sorry, I should be doing this over here, by the way, but it doesn't really matter. B is going to be 5 plus 3, which is 8. So the equation of my line is y equals 1 over 2x plus 8. Whew. All right, let's check the chat. Bilal, thank you so much for answering that b is equal to 8. Excellent. Okay. How do I'd like for you guys to practice. Is there practice here? Yeah, there is a practice here. Kind of. How do I want to do this? We have 10, well, we don't have much time left. Okay. So guys, what I'm going to do, oh, this is fine actually for 10 minutes. Let's kind of, oh, I got an idea. I have an idea of how to finish this. Let's do this part tomorrow. Okay, because this is a bit much to be introducing in the last, 5 minutes of class. Let's do this tomorrow. So guys, I'm not going to skip this. We are going to do page 91 tomorrow. Sorry, tomorrow. Sorry about my spelling. Let's look at this and actually kind of put together what we just learned. I want to calculate the equation of this graph using the information that I just learned. I know that y is equal to mx plus b. And I want to somehow find the equation of this line. Well, this is actually probably pretty easy for some of you, maybe. I need to find b and m. I need to find my slope and my b. Well, the b is actually pretty easy. Remember that the b is the y-intercept. So my b is going to be whatever this point is here. So b is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. b is going to be 3. Now, how do I find my slope? This is the challenge of this part, of this question. How do I find the slope? Well, m is rise over run. So the slope is going to be, how much I go up or down versus how much over how much I go left or right. Well, let's look at this. 1, 2, 3. So I go down 3. And I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to go right 4. That means my slope is going to be -3 over 4. And we have finished this question. Slope can be found by using rise over run. My formula for this is y is equal to -3 over 4. That's my slope. Plus 3. That's my y-intercept. All right, so the finale. This is good because you guys can actually practice this. The final question of today. I want you guys to try this using this graph. I'll zoom in so you guys can see it. I want you to try this. We will do page 91 tomorrow. I didn't think it was really fair to do it at the end of this class because it's going to take me a few minutes to explain that, but this is actually pretty easy. So start with your y-intercept, find your slope, and see if you can tell me the equation. All right, take 2 minutes. I'll come back with the answer. Halas, we are finished. There's an answer in the chat there, guys, but I haven't checked if it's right or not. So just take 2 minutes. We'll do the answer. We're finished. And don't worry, we will practice this tomorrow. If you guys need more work on this, basically today I wanted to show you the theory, and then tomorrow we can practice. So take another minute or two, see if you can get the formula, and that's it. Ooh, I must say I'm impressed. I'm getting some private messages, but from the public messages, you know, Samira, um, Bilal, Fatima, Sana, all correct. This is awesome. And then to the students writing me privately, I won't say your names, but you are right. So there's no problem if I did want to say your names. You're doing this perfectly. I'm actually surprised. I did move a little quickly this afternoon, and I apologize for that. But my goal today was to get through the theory so we could practice a bit tomorrow. And I still have a little bit of theory left to do tomorrow with this. But this is going to take me a little bit of time to explain. So I'm very, very, very pleased with you guys and your work today, or like your work, especially right now. So let's see if you're right. I guess I shouldn't say I'm happy if I don't know if you're right. So let's start with the y-intercept. What is this point here? Well, let's zoom in. 1, 2, 3. This point is 0 and -3. So that means my y-intercept B is -3. Okay, what about my slope? My slope is my rise over run. Now, there's a few ways you can do this. What I like to do, again, the rise over run is just to move from this point. Sorry, let me get my eraser fixed here. Is to move from this point to another point somewhere on the graph. And the easiest point is this one. You could pick another point, right? Like I could pick this point, but I want to pick a point that I know is correct. And it's going to this point here. If you're wondering, by the way, this point here is -2 and 0. Okay, so what is my slope? I'm going 1, 2, 3. I'm going up 3, and I'm going left 2. So my slope is going to be +3 over -2, or you could just say -3. Sorry. Let me just scroll down. Or you could just say -3 over 2. Whatever one you want, it doesn't matter. Okay, but I'm going up 3, which is positive, and left 2, which is negative. All right, we're done. That's it. So my slope is -3 over 2. So my formula is y equals -3 over 2 minus 3. That's it. Done. We will practice this tomorrow. Okay, we're out of time today. Okay, guys, that's it. I'm going to hit stop recording. Sorry, just 1 second. I'll have this uploaded on YouTube the minute it finishes kind of converting itself. But that's it for today. Yes, sorry, guys. Yes. X, I forgot my X there. Yep, sorry. Thank you for that. I'm going a little quick because I want you to finish up. But yeah, I forgot my X. Don't forget the X. All right, cool, guys. That's it for today. Thank you so much.